Abby Johnson is on with us to talk about the pro-life movement and how we are responding to the political culture today. And we also discuss some of the common strawmans that the pro-abortion argument likes to lob at the pro-life movement. You're not going to want to miss this interview.
Morning. Thanks for having me on.
Praise be to God. It's good to have you here. You know, we often talk about pro-life and we sometimes, I think we do recall that it's more than just saving babies, although that is our primary focus. But I think your work now, your life's work, has become sort of the embodiment of what we really mean by pro-life, to save more than just the babies. Isn't that how you see yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I have two ministries, one that reaches out to abortion clinic workers and, you know, hopefully brings them into relationship and the saving mercy of Jesus Christ, and then another that helps women connect with resources, and, you know, whether that's that they've, you know, had an abortion in their past, or, you know, whether it's a single mom maybe who needs help with their children. Maybe, you know, maybe she chose life 5 or 6 years ago, but now she needs help with rent or utilities or, you know, whatever it is. You know, so I try to take, you know, more of a a holistic look, I guess, to the pro-life movement. And I think that that's important. It's not just about saving babies, but really about growing families and bringing people to Jesus Christ.
Amen to that. You know, that's been one of the big criticisms I think pro-lifers have received from people who are pro-choice, is that we only care about saving the baby, and that's all we ever care about. And we get accused often of not being there with these mothers and their unplanned pregnancies. And I right now, I can think of, in the city that I live currently, I can think of probably 2 or 3 organizations, 501c3s, that provide, you know, neonatal care. They provide help with rent, with food, with diapers. I mean, they walk with these women through whatever their needs are. I can think of these examples just off the top of my head, and I imagine you've heard this argument before.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, when you sort of juxtapose that against the abortion industry, of course, they're not doing anything to help mothers that are in need. Right. So, I mean, you know, we've got over 3,000 pregnancy centers in the United States that are, you know, helping women who choose life, helping their babies, usually up until the age of 2, sometimes beyond. You know, we have so many resources in the pro-life movement. Of course, Catholic Charities, one of the largest benevolent organizations in the United States. You know, so many organizations out there to help families in need, not just women. And, you know, look at Planned Parenthood. What do they do if a mother's in need? Well, the only thing that they can do is say, well, we'll help you kill your baby. Yeah. And that's not help at all.
No, that's insane. Abby Johnson's our guest, by the way. You know, Abby, over the weekend, I participated in a religious liberty conference, and I talked about some of the infiltration, or some of the very concerning issues that we have as parents in our society. And one of them was Planned Parenthood's work to educate children at school. And just this morning, I saw an article posted over at The Blaze. The headline goes, "Middle school teacher distributes flyer to 8th graders advising students of their rights to get abortion, Plan B, without parent permission." They really are trying to go after the children. Having worked on that side of the line, was this a part of the equation when you worked there?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And 8th grade is rather old, actually.
That's insane.
I did a hit about this on Fox News on Sunday, this exact story, actually. And what I talked about when I did that was, you know, that what was interesting about that particular story was that and it's always this way. So the principal comes out and says, oh, you know, this was an unfortunate mistake. But the reality is that it wasn't a mistake. It was not a mistake on the part of that teacher. She intentionally gave that information to her group of 8th graders. She knew what she was doing. It was very intentional, and it had been part of their curriculum. Even though it was not part of their curriculum this year, it had been part of their curriculum in years past. It was in a folder. It was in a binder that they had given out to students before.
Wow.
So just because it wasn't part of their curriculum this year didn't mean that it hadn't been part of their curriculum in years past. And the bottom line is that giving it to 8th grade, I mean, my goodness, Planned Parenthood's graphic sex education begins in kindergarten and 1st grade. And Planned Parenthood consistently says that parents are a barrier to service. And so that's why they're giving this information. That's why they're putting this information in the hands of children. I mean, parents need to wake up. This is if they aren't already sounding the alarm about Planned Parenthood being in their kids' schools, I mean, this should do it. Okay. I mean,
yes.
they need to be aware, be awake. This is happening. And it may not be Planned Parenthood. It may be other organizations that mimic Planned Parenthood. It may be organizations that put Planned Parenthood curriculum in their kids' schools. Parents need to pay attention to what their kids are being taught.
You know, a portion of this flyer, I'm reading right from the article here at the Blaze. It says, quote, "It is not a crime if you are 11 and have sex with somebody 2 years older or less, 12 to 13, and have sex with somebody who is 3 years older or less, 14 or 15, and have sex with somebody who is 4 years older or less," unquote. That is literally insane. To try to encourage these children to have sex at this age, and then to say, "Don't worry, we got you covered. We got the Plan B, we got the contraception, we got whatever you need." This is literally encouraging this is like diabolical in our society today. I can't even wrap my head around how bad this really is.
Well, yeah. And this is their goal, to separate children from their parents and to say, you know, your parents, their beliefs are antiquated. They don't understand what's going on in our society. And I mean, I know this is what they say, but this is what I used to say when I would go into schools. Your parents are antiquated. They don't understand what you're going through. They don't understand the feelings that you're having. Don't worry about it. You don't need to go to them. Come to us. And here's all of your rights as a child. You know, as a young adult, as a young person growing up, here's your rights. If you find yourself needing birth control, if you find yourself needing STD testing, if you find yourself needing an abortion, we will help you, and you don't have to tell your parent. Now, your child can't get a Tylenol at the nurse's office without your consent.
Right.
But they can go to a Planned Parenthood facility or another abortion facility, and they can have a surgical abortion. They can have a medication abortion procedure where they almost bleed to death and die without you knowing.
Abby, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. I was posting about the pro-life. We were talking about how when we were out protesting with the TFP, and people were like, "How dare you go and do that? You bunch of men talking about pro-life issues, talking about women issues." And they ended up making the argument. They recognized that the baby was in fact a baby, but that the mother still had a right to murder the baby. Do you see this argument of actually giving the point that it is a life? And how do you respond to someone who recognizes it's a life and still thinks that it's okay to kill it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just say I'm so thankful for TFP, and I'm so thankful for all the men that do stand up against this atrocity. We need more and more men, not less men, standing up against this. And the interesting thing is that you can go to any, pro-abortion rally and see tons of men. They're usually gay, but you can see tons of men, standing up and saying, men shouldn't have an opinion on this, yet there's thousands of men standing out. I actually went to a rally one time. There was a man holding up a sign that said, "No uterus, no opinion." I'm like, did you even read your sign, dude? Anyway, so I think it's incredibly important for men to be sounding the alarm on this, to be raising their voices on this. And let me say, when I go out to the abortion clinic and I stand and pray, men who are out there are significantly more impactful on women going into the clinic than I am.
Wow.
Because these women have been so failed by men in their life, and they are waiting for a man. I don't care what secular feminism, I always say that's the other F word, feminism, but they have been so failed by men, and I don't care what feminism says, every woman is waiting for a knight in shining armor to come and save her, right? And these women are waiting for some man to say, you don't have to do this. I can help you. I can put you in contact with somebody that can help you. And it doesn't matter if I reach out to a woman, she's probably going to ignore me. But if a man standing next to me reaches out to her, she's going to listen to him. So we need men out in front of those sidewalks. We need men standing up on this issue. But yeah, I do find that, and I actually have greater respect for somebody who's pro-abortion that at least acknowledges the science and says, you know, I do recognize that it's a baby. I do recognize that it's a human being in the womb, but I still think a woman has a right to kill it. I mean, at least they're not lying about the science, right? But I mean, that's sort of where we are in our country right now, is that people believe that women have the absolute control over their bodies to take the life of another human being. And you know, in that case, I usually just talk to them and say, okay, well, what other time is it okay for, you know, someone to take the life of another human being? I mean, let's go down that road, right? And usually they'll concede and say, well, never. I mean, this is the only time. And, you know, honestly, Joe, at that point in time, really the only thing you can do is just say, okay, I hope that those words ring in your ears. Because I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to let the Holy Spirit like do its thing, right? Like, yeah. I hope that I hope that you hear yourself saying that over and over again, that you believe that it's okay to take the life of an innocent human being because you think that somehow they are subhuman, that you think that they are somehow less than, and recognize that that's exactly what allowed slavery to persist in this society. That's exactly what allowed the Jewish Holocaust. I mean, you know, you try to make some comparisons and just let it sit with them.
Well, we are out of time. Abby Johnson's been our guest. What an incredible conversation. Thank you, Abby, for your time today.
If you like that interview, then be sure to check out some of our other interviews that you might find interesting. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share this interview with someone that you think will find this informative and inspiring. God love you.